What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. We're doing a Blu-ray collection update again today.
How exciting.
Yeah, it's been a couple months probably, maybe more since we did our last one, and we've accumulated more things to show off and talk about. We like doing it kind of as a joint update where we alternate and talk about recent pickups, so let's get into it.
No.
Okay.
First off here, I have kind of an sorry, I need to get warmed up here real quick. The first one I have here is a super obscure movie I came across on the...
I want to see this.
Yeah, on the deal section on Blu-ray.com. So it was very cheap, maybe like $5. So I figured I'd pick it up and check it out. That's 24-Hour Party People. Now, are you into like the 80s, 90s pop, rock sort of music, like Joy Division?
Yeah, well, you were talking to me about that. You mentioned Joy Division. I like Joy Division. So, yeah, I really do enjoy that era. I know they don't probably talk about them, but, like, you know, the Depeche Mode and that type of stuff. So.
Right. Yeah, they don't talk about them, but I think it says here, it features a bunch of music, but I think they also talk about The Cure and stuff like that.
Cool.
But
Sign me up.
Basically, this is the story of the guy that started the record company that signed these bands. And it deals with, you know, the issues of Joy Division, especially the singer. And,
Ian Curtis.
Yes. And,
Troubled Man.
It's really interestingly shot. Almost feels like a documentary, but with actors. It's got Steve Coogan who plays the main guy. But, yeah, it's completely surprised me. Music I really didn't listen to before, but now I do. And, yeah, I really enjoyed it. If you're into like the scummy documentary type of films, I definitely recommend this one.
That was a good time for music. So, you know, maybe you'll discover some bands from watching that, which is pretty dope.
Yeah, so that's 24-Hour Party People.
I really want to see that. All right, first up for me, the newest film from Kevin Smith, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. I got the Blu-ray, you know, digital pack here.
Yeah.
All right, first up for me is the newest film from Kevin Smith. It is Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. Another entry into the View Askew-universe.
Very good.
Yeah, I heard a lot of bad things about this, including a lot of bad stuff from this guy and another friend of mine. And, you know, people just didn't seem really on board with it. I watched it. I thought it was fine. I really enjoyed it.
That's the opinion of a contrarian.
No, the thing is this a good movie? No. Is Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back a good movie? No, not really. But is it fun? I mean, I had a good time with it. It's basically a love letter to everything else Kevin Smith has done. It's very self-aware, makes fun of a lot of the actors and characters that have...
So he's sucking his own ass.
Pretty much, but it works. It's for the fans, and if you're a fan of, you know, Clerks and Mallrats and all that stuff, I would highly recommend this. I thought it was good. I mean, I had a really good time with it. A lot of fun, and, you know... These guys are a little bit older now. Jason Mewes' face is kind of showing some signs of aging, but...
And drugs.
Yeah, I like Kevin Smith. I like the View Askew stuff, and I'm happy to have this in my collection. To me, it's just as good as Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. So, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot.
Been getting a lot into some foreign film... Oh, excuse me. International films lately.
International cinema.
Yes, I've been getting into some international cinema lately. And a few weeks back, they had some sales going on some of the Blu-rays for them. So I picked up this one completely blind. It's called The Gangster, the Cop, the Devil. Actually a pretty interesting premise. That's kind of the story of the serial murderer that's going around and this gangster, this mafia boss, starts to work with a cop to find this guy. So it's kind of the interesting dynamic of two people on both sides of the law that are trying to help each other find this murderer. The gangster gets involved because he almost gets murdered by this serial killer. So, yeah, super interesting. If you're into some international cinema and not afraid to try some new things, definitely recommend a watch.
My hope with Parasite being a big, you know, winner at the Academy Awards and being exposed to a lot of, you know, mainstream American culture that people might venture out a little bit more and, you know, watch some of these films. I don't know what that is. I can't speak for it, but it's, you know, there's a whole other world of movies out there that you discover if you don't just watch, you know, American stuff.
Yeah. And it's just a totally different style too with all these foreign films. I mean, there's just so much out there to choose from, and I just
Well, you put me to sleep.
Bored?
You got any American movies?
Yeah, I just hope too that with Parasite winning Best Picture, you start to see people go outside their comfort zone and try different things, because there's quite literally a whole world out there of different films.
All right, next up for me, this is the newest film from Robert Eggers. I actually talked about this in my top 10 of the year. Oh my God, the slipcover!
Is there a dent?
It's a little banged up. Good thing I don't care anymore. That is The Lighthouse.
Oh, my sister!
Robert Eggers, director of The Witch. This is follow-up, stars Robert Pattinson, Willem Dafoe. Bizarre film. Two lighthouse keepers. The movie is strange pretty much right from the get-go. It's one of those where you're not sure if what you're seeing is real or if it's in one of the characters' heads. I mean, it's a complex, very strange film, but I've seen this twice now. We saw it in theaters, picked up on Blu-ray, watched it again. I love this movie.
Yeah.
I think it's phenomenal. I love The Witch. To me, this is not at that point yet, but...
No,
but I think it could be, because he's made two films now, and they're both very different, but they're both very just mysterious and...
atmospheric.
Yeah, certain things about this film have stuck with me, including, the final shot, for sure, without spoiling it for anybody, but...
and you hear that a lot, too. Oh, the final shot, it's so great, but I genuinely think the final shot to this movie is kind of like, what the fuck?
It really is. Like, even when we saw it in theaters, I'm like, what the fuck, So, I would highly recommend this. It's a very different film. Watch it with subtitles. That would be my recommendation. For The Witch, too, watch these movies with subtitles if it's your first time seeing them, because it's easy to miss stuff. They're talking very appropriate to the time period.
Yeah, and you may not understand what it all means, but you'll at least know what they're saying.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same thing with foreign films. It's kind of not a struggle, but you kind of have to work to watch it a little bit.
Right. And these were two of the best performances of 2019. So, they were snubbed at the Oscars, which I expected. It's not really that big of a film, but great performances. That is The Lighthouse.
Did you see Robert Pattinson in his Batman gear?
Nope.
Gotta see the Batman?
Nope.
Speaking of Bong Joon-ho, actually, another...
Pong.
According to Spike Lee, Bong Joon-ho.
Bong Joon-ho.
Picked up another of his films. I think this is one of his earlier ones from 2009. It's called Mother. Not to be confused with the one from a couple years ago with Jennifer Lawrence. This one's far superior. But anyway, it tells the story of this woman. She's an herb lady. She makes all these different herbs and concoctions, and she has a son who's a little intellectually off, who gets arrested for the murder of a girl. And so this is a story of her trying to prove his innocence. And a lot of twists and turns throughout the whole thing.
Is it a horror movie, or?
No, it's not.
Oh,
okay. It's more of like a crime thriller.
Okay.
A little bit in the same vein as the last one I talked about. But it's just super good, super in-depth, intense. Just another great Bong one. I would probably say this is my second favorite of his behind Parasite.
Cool.
But I definitely recommend it. Super good film. Some great music. And there's something about those freaking South Koreans. They make some great stuff.
All right, next up, I've talked about this movie a lot too. Just want to show it off real quick. That is The Peanut Butter Falcon, another one of my favorite films of 2019. Shia LaBeouf, great performance in this.
Shia
LaBeouf, and this kid Zach G that was on the actually presented at the Academy Awards. So if you were seeing that and you were wondering who is this guy with Shia LaBeouf, check this movie out. Simple film, heartfelt, but really good. Really enjoy this one. That is The Peanut Butter Falcon.
Next one here, Battle Royale. I think this is like the big movie that Quentin Tarantino talks about and wishes he would have made.
Right.
Essentially and simply, it's the Japanese Hunger Games.
Yeah.
It's you've seen this?
I have, yeah.
Yeah. Pretty solid, pretty violent.
Yeah, I like it. I have one of those. It's like a Blu-ray set. It's almost like a book with the
discs
really? In it. Yeah, I don't know if it's out of print or what it is. But
interesting. Yeah, but this is it's a good film. Yeah, I mean, simply put, it's just a good film. Like I said, it's like the Hunger Games, except it's a school, and I don't really know why they do it.
I've only seen it one time.
Yeah,
I know people love that movie though.
Yeah, it's just there's not much to say about it except it's good. It's violent. If you like the Hunger Games, Even if you don't, check this out because I think this is probably the superior version of that.
A lot of people love that one. All right, next up. This is from a couple years ago now. Ooh. Jonah Hill, directorial debut. Mid-90s.
Damn.
Man, this movie.
It's a great movie.
It's about these kids in LA in the 90s, and they're skateboarders. This main kid kind of, he's kind of a little outcast at the beginning, and then he works himself in with this group of kids that skate, and they have their own skate shop, and, I mean, great coming-of-age film.
Yeah.
And for Jonah Hill, for this to be his first film he's directed.
It's a really great debut.
Yeah, it's really well done. I've seen this a handful of times now, and I mean, I totally love it. The acting is pretty authentic. A lot of the things these kids are saying, I mean, it reminds me of stuff I'd heard or even said myself at certain points in my life back in the day. So,
it's very maturely and intelligently made. I mean, especially for a debut, you get a guy who's never directed. He's using, a certain aspect ratio, maybe from the 90s, as well as like the look of the actual film is 90s. It's just very smartly made.
It's a total love letter to skate culture and just to like 90s pop culture in general. I mean, it really does feel like it's in the 90s, which is, kind of hard to pull off today. So,
yeah.
Very well done. Lucas Hedges is in this too, kind of playing the same, disturbed character he always plays, but can't say enough good things about that. And this kid too, Sonny Soljic. I don't know.
Boy from God of War.
Yeah, there might be a weird way to pronounce his last name, but great performance. Phenomenal film. That's mid-90s.
Fuck shit. Fucks like shit.
Fuck shit.
This next one here is it's like a British sort of film. It's Ben Wheatley, who's made a bunch of things. He made that Free Fire movie from a couple years back, High Rise.
You have anything we've heard of?
No, that's the point of this. It's called Kill List. Now, this one's actually really fucking good. Essentially, it's the story of this hitman. Excuse me!
Sorry, long day.
It's about this hitman who was involved in a hit that went wrong. A year later, he's still trying to get over it. He has PTSD about it, but one of his buddies comes back. He's like, hey, I've got some jobs. Let's do them. Very violent, super interesting, but it's got a twist ending that is completely like different than what the whole film leads up to.
Okay.
I mean, you can see right there. It becomes kind of...
That's interesting.
Kind of, without spoiling, it becomes a little...
It seems like it just goes in a total crazy direction at the end.
Yeah, because you think it's one thing, it goes a different direction. I was kind of a little floored by it just because I didn't expect where it was going to go. And very short film, maybe an hour and a half, a little less. I would definitely recommend it if you can find it. And yeah, it's just very good. Caught me by surprise. Really enjoyed it.
That sounds cool. All right, next up, I got a 4K Steelbook here. This was a day one for me. It's one of my favorite films of all time.
We went on lunch and bought it.
We did, yeah. So, we don't normally do that anymore, so it's got to be something special. Field of Dreams, 4K Steelbook. Like I said, one of my favorite films of all time. Not only is this just, this is a great baseball movie, but so much more than that.
Great dad movie.
Yeah, a great, father-son sort of thing. And Kevin Costner, Ray Liotta, James Earl Jones. I don't know. I love this movie. I watch this movie a couple times each year. It's right around when baseball season starts. The weather starts getting a little bit, warmer, and it's just tradition. This goes hand in hand with the baseball season. And like I said, so much more than that. So even if you're not a huge fan of baseball, if you're someone who doesn't really care about the game or whatever, I would still recommend checking this out. It's a fantasy film. It's pretty far-fetched, really, but
yeah.
That's what it is. It's a fantasy movie, and just one of my personal favorites. One that kind of gets to me every time. The end is just really...
It definitely has more of an effect on me now. I liked it the first time, and I've progressively liked it more times I've seen it.
One of the essential baseball films, and just an amazing movie in general. That is Field of Dreams.
All right, so we got another foreign one here.
Oh!
So this was the first time I watched it completely blind. I think it was on Netflix. It was me and T and her brother. We had a really good time watching it. It was called The Wave. It's a foreign disaster. It's only when I'm talking about them. Foreign disaster film. what I think is a little bit different about it is I feel like it's more intelligently made than your usual blockbuster films. It's about this Norwegian, I want to say. It's this big mountain rock. It's about to fall off and capsize the whole town. So it's that part of it is essentially the same as a lot of disaster films. People don't believe the guy, and then he leads them to victory and saves lives. So when I went to Tucson back during Christmas, we ended up watching The Quake as well with her family, which it was just a really good time. What? Was that your stomach? I thought it was over next door. But I ended up going to Tucson for Christmas. We watched the second one. It was just kind of one of those things. It was interesting to be around her family and what?
Nothing.
Is it still making noises?
Oh yeah, okay.
They're both just quality disaster films, foreign disaster films. These characters that you actually care about. It's not like your shitty The Rock films where just like, he's gonna make it. These actually have some stakes involved. They actually have some tension that is palpable. You actually feel it.
You mean you don't have Skyscraper Blu-ray in that pile over there?
No, unfortunately not. I skipped over that
Loser.
one. Good thing. This is not Skyscraper. This is not San Andreas. A little bit better. So you got The Wave, The Quake, 2-film collection, foreign disaster films. Check them out.
Guess I'm going to have to step up my international cinema game.
Hulu, Prime. I think that's where they are, so you can watch them anywhere.
Cool. Well, let's stick with the Kevin Costner theme. I might have shown this off. I don't think I have, but
I heard this movie sucks.
You probably have heard that. This was, a while ago now.
Yeah.
The Barnes & Noble Criterion sale, they were also running an Arrow Video sale, which they normally do. This is the Arrow Video version of Waterworld. Really nice set.
Ooh, Waterworld.
Waterworld. We were in there doing our Criterions, and I thought about buying this, and I couldn't pull the trigger on it. And then I went back the next day because I'm like, I gotta have this. I know there's a 4K. I think you have the 4K.
I do, yes.
That's got to look good. I would imagine it looks really good. But I wanted this just because, this is just jam-packed full of stuff. And I'd actually never seen Waterworld before I bought this. It definitely has that reputation, though, of being like one of the biggest failures ever, if not the biggest failure in like box office history. Just an enormous budget and a lot of problems with the sets and all that stuff. But I got to say, I went into this with just open mind, and I thought it was good.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I had a good time with it. The sets are really phenomenal when you realize the technical aspect of filming that on the water like that, and a lot of the sets, like I said, are just really badass. The music, damn.
There's something about water. Water music.
There's this part when Kevin Costner's teaching the girl how to swim in this movie, and the track on the score is called "Swimming," and it's like. It is such a good song. Really kind of captures the aura of the entire film. But, it's got a reputation. But I think it's a fun movie. I had a good time with it. That is Waterworld. Really, really nice Arrow Videos.
The next one here is a film that came out last year.
Ooh, starring Dasani.
Oh, yeah, starring water. Aquafina. That's The Farewell. This was getting a lot of hype last year. So I went in, checked it out. Very good film. Very good film. It's basically about Aquafina and her family. They are...
Such a stupid name.
I know. And obviously it's not her real name.
It annoys me.
I don't know why she ended up going by that name. It's a little weird, but she's very good in this movie.
Quirky.
Yeah. It's about a Chinese family whose the grandmother, the mother in the family who lives in China is diagnosed with cancer, but what they do in China, I guess, is when somebody is sick, they don't tell the person.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I've seen the previews for this.
Yeah, they don't tell the person. So it's kind of the clashing of different cultures, and Aquafina, who grew up in America, she wants to tell her. She doesn't think it's right. But the rest of the family's like, don't tell them.
What happens when their body starts deteriorating and they know something's wrong? Is that when they find out?
I guess. Or they just
don't wake up.
Or they just think they're sick of something else. Okay. It's a very interesting, kind of flawed cultural.
Yeah.
I think it's a little.
It sounds like a good premise for a film, though.
It is. Really, yeah. It's another one of those movies that kind of affected me in a way because of the subject matter of it. But it's just a very solid film. Very much enjoyed it. Another foreign film. There are a lot of English American aspects of it, but
A24 too.
Yeah, A24. Who we
we make fun of.
We joke about it, but
like oh my god, it's A24. It's amazing, but like really, A24 puts out some of the best shit.
Yeah,
that's come out recently.
Yeah, they pretty much always put out good stuff, and this is another one to add to that list.
Morris from America, and then everything else. All right, coming up on the end here, I've got another 4K title to show off. It's a big one.
I like that movie.
2001, A Space Odyssey. Stanley Kubrick,
heard of him.
A film from the 60s that feels like it's, late 80s, early 90s. Way ahead of its time.
Yeah.
This movie is a masterpiece. Okay, that word gets thrown around, but if you're going to use it for any movie, this is the one to use it for. 4K, really nice set. I actually have not got the chance to watch this yet. I don't know what the problem is. I need to get on that. I gotta say though, they have like this black case and it's all scuffed up.
Jane's silent boob.
I've been watching too much Tusk, but I'm really excited to dive into this. I love this movie. Stanley Kubrick really is
creative genius.
The best. I think he's the best. And this movie, like I said, just way ahead of its time. If you have not seen this for some weird, bizarre reason, make this a priority out of everything in this video. Watch this one, 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Onto a film even better than 2001: A Space Odyssey.
No.
With better packaging as well.
I'll give you that.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
That thing's beautiful, man.
It is very nice. I got it for a decent price because I had a gift card. I had some $5 certificates, so I used it, got it for a decent price. But this is the 4K packaging that comes with.
Oh, it's so sick. What is the retail on that? Can you even get that anymore?
I don't know. I think it's at least like 70, and that's not what I paid for.
I can already tell that's going to be something that I regret not buying.
Yeah,
because it's really cool.
It's really nice. It really kind of fits the time. So you've got a Mad magazine. You've also got a poster. It really feels and kind of makes this world that Tarantino created feel real, especially the character of Rick Dalton. But you also get a record.
Yeah.
What would you call that? A 45?
Yeah.
You get a 45 with 2 songs, which is, whatever. I don't have a record player anyway. I just kind of like the packaging.
It's called a turntable.
You also get an adapter for it, and you get the 4K Blu-ray, a super stunning set, as well as this beautiful artwork.
It looks like something out of the time, It's looks like something I find at my grandma's house, honestly.
Yeah, it's great. The artwork on it and everything. And I do really love the film. The packaging's great, but I do really love the film. Brad Pitt was great. Oscar-worthy, that's questionable. Considering who he was up against, I don't know. But, I really love this film. Watched it a couple times already. I think it's one of my favorites of his and his, great filmography already. But yeah, I figured, fuck it, why not pick this up for a film I love? And
much like with The Irishman, you knew that film was going to be great. It's like, you knew it was going to be great.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, love it. Margot Robbie.
All right, we got one more title here.
Ooh.
This is just kind of a random Blu-ray that I've actually had for a while, but I don't think I've ever talked about it in any sort of video or anything. I wanted to throw it in this update. This movie's probably 5 years old now, if not more.
2016 maybe.
It was, okay, yeah. So it's getting there. I'm
just talking out of my ass.
I don't even know, but I know it was when I was back in Iowa when I went to see it, and that was at least 3 years ago. That is A Monster Calls. I feel like nobody knows about this movie or nobody's seen it. And like you mentioned earlier while we were talking about it, I think it's because it's very, you don't realize what this is actually about. It kind of looks like just some goofy kids movie maybe.
Yeah, the marketing was... It wasn't very... It was non-existent, really.
Yeah, the premise of this is this kid lives with his mom, and the mom, Felicity Jones, is diagnosed with cancer, and she's basically dying. Yeah. So this kid's very traumatized by it, as you would be. And he likes to draw and stuff, and to kind of help him cope, he conjures up these images of his drawings, this big monster voiced by Liam Neeson, which is really cool. Yeah. And, as the movie progresses, easy there, bud. As the movie progresses, he imagines this big monster in different scenarios and stuff from his drawings, and it's really a movie about, I don't know. It's sad.
Loss.
Yeah.
It's. How did you even discover this movie?
Because
you told me about it.
I remember going to the theater to see something else, and I saw that this was just playing. Like, I used to do the old double feature. I'd pay for one ticket, and then we'd go in and see something else. And whatever movie I went to see. Yeah, I saw this movie was, conveniently playing right after I got out of the theater, so I hopped in and saw this on a whim, and this movie messed me up.
It's rough.
Yeah, this is not just some, fantasy kids movie of, some cute monster running around or something like that. It's a very deep, emotional film, and I would recommend it highly. It's a fantastic, kind of underappreciated film. That is A Monster Calls.
It's also from Jay Boyona, who did
That's right.
the Jurassic Park Fallen World. Was that what it was called?
Kingdom.
Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah.
The Impossible, The Orphanage. So it's got some clout to it.
I like you said, though, I think it was just marketed. It's hard to market that film. All right, guys, that does it for another... Blu-ray collection update. Love hearing your thoughts about any of these titles. Some good stuff on both sides, I think.
Yeah, let me know if you've heard of any of these titles that I've talked about.
Yeah, love recommendations. Love hearing your comments. Look out for more of these. I've already got some stuff ready for the next one, so stay tuned. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thanks, guys. See ya.